الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين سيدنا ونبينا محمد ابن عبد الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. It's an absolute pleasure to see you again after 4 or 5 weeks to discuss a subject that we have actually covered. And I think in the 3rd week of December, we discussed about the importance of time. So in that day, we gave some definitions. We just understood what is it that we are going to encounter, what does our time mean, why is it important. But today, we are going to talk specifically and start one by one talking about the disease. The diseases that actually steal our times without even knowing. So I think everybody was questioning himself or questioning herself, what is the hidden addiction? The moment we talk about addiction, the moment we mention the word someone is addicted to something, we mostly mentally go towards substances. Most of the time. But if we look at what we live today, let's go back 3 years. At the time of the pandemic, that's a word that nobody wants to hear. At the pandemic, what happened? The whole world was stopped. It's just like the clock has stopped. People were actually at home. Why? People should not meet each other. Why? Because of something that was clinically proven, that it is dangerous. It could take your life. It's just like a ticking bomb. It comes to you. You could stop smelling. You could stop tasting. All of a sudden, if you're not immune to it, what will happen? Something will happen to you. You will die. That's why everybody was afraid. Everybody was actually scared. Oh, that's dangerous. But what about what we are going to talk about today? I'm sure you're all eager to know about this hidden addiction. This hidden addiction came to life in 2007. Before 2007, it did not even exist. In 2007, smartphones were invented. If we look at the home phones, the old version of phones that we used to have like in every house, it took 100 years for that to be normalized so that every house has a home phone. A telephone where you can contact other families, other friends. But for smartphones, it took only 15 years, from 2007 till today. I went through the numbers and I was shook. I was shook how it was actually faster than a cancer in a human body. I couldn't even memorize them. I wrote them in numbers here. Because what? I could not conceive that a disease could come into our lives and we don't even know about it. If you go to doctors right now, tell them you have this disease, they'll tell you no. We don't even have a diagnosis for such a disease. So, if we look right now in numbers, 95% of people in North America, in general, they have smartphones. That's not the problem. The problem is the following. If we come and talk about the usage, how often, what is the average of our usage for our phones per day? Who can guess? Who can take a guess? 8 hours? A bit more?
14 hours?
No. It's 9 hours a day. So if we look at this, by just doing some simple calculation, 32 99.7% of our lives, the lifetime we have, the breath we take, are spent on our phones. Let's talk a bit deeper. These 9 hours in average, that means there are some people that even go beyond that. In average, if I look here, we have 1 hour and 47 minutes per day that's spent on TikTok, in average. 1 hour and 10 minutes per day that's spent on Instagram. 1 hour, 12 minutes in average spent on Snapchat. 1 hour and 46 minutes per day spent on games. 3 hours and 16 minutes per day in average spent on videos or YouTubes, etc. So, what does this tell us? If I look at the research that came up with 71% of people can never turn off their phones, that's where I started really to be afraid. Because I looked at myself at one point of time, even 2 years ago, at one of the jobs that I actually occupied, I found myself always, constantly on my phone. To the point that it caused me problems. With who? Even to the attention with my son. Sometimes you come like that on your phone, you're working, you're doing something, and then your son comes to you, or your daughter comes to you. Oh, Baba, Salaam Alaikum. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, daqiqtain, 2 minutes. I'm here. Constantly here. Sometimes that happens to a wife, or happens to a husband, or to a brother or sister. When we came to realize that we have 17% of parents have issues with their phones, or they interact with their phones more than they interact with their children, oh, there is a problem. When we came and realized that 31% of people cannot control their phones, they have the urge, they see their phones, they cannot resist the urge to start looking at their phones. If I look at the group age, from children up until 18 years old, 80% of them, those who actually possess phones, 80% of them check their phones, they actually check their screens every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes. What do you think? Are we actually heading towards something that's good? All right, let's dig a bit deeper. If we look right now at the impact of this, just like let's draw some examples. I remember, and I think all the fathers here, all the fathers that are actually like 30, 40 years and above, can agree with me on this. When I was actually between 7 and 14 years old, my parents used to actually find a lock for the door. Why? They don't want me to go out. And the same happens with all the parents in the neighborhood. What do? They lock the door. Why? They don't want me to go out and be out of their sight. But what was the goal? The goal was to have human connection with other friends, to socialize, to learn, to mingle in the society. Now look at the opposite. You leave your door open, your child won't come out. He will stay there. As human beings, as kids, usually we look for the validation, for the acceptance from our parents all the time. Whatever we do, we always look at our parents to get validation. If they're happy, we are happy. Then when we come to the adolescence, what happens then? We don't want to look for that from our parents anymore. We want to look for that in our peers, in school, in the neighborhood. We want to start what? Having that validation. I want to show in front of my friends that I'm capable, I'm strong, I'm actually a person who's worthy of something. When I don't find it, what happens? I shrink and I go back, try to find out that validation somewhere. And unfortunately, this time, the majority of us, they try to find that validation where? With the phones. How did it start? Let's take an example. Instagram. What happens? You go and post a picture. You put the phone down, not even 2-3 minutes, ding. You want to rush actually and find out, oh, who liked my photo? 5-10 minutes more, ding. Oh, I'm happy. Oh, 2 people like me. Ding. Oh, I'm here. Oh, wow, 10 people like my photo. That's awesome. So I'm getting this happiness. I'm getting this, when you talk about it, like medically, when you talk about this dopamine that actually raises the happiness, I'm happy. Why? Because I'm getting an external validation that I am worthy, that my picture is actually looking good, or I look good, or etc., etc., etc. That starts. Where does it end? Then it took us slowly to a different level of addiction. It's not only us. So wherever we go, we start finding ourselves holding our phones, the camera's on. Oh, okay. I'm in the mosque. I'm eating this. I'm with these people. So it started. Gradually, what happens? I'm looking for constant, rapid, and quick acceptance from others through what? Through the phone. Why? Because when I go out socially, I found out with my peers, I'm not accepted, or they're looking at me somehow that I'm not strong enough to be with them, not good enough to be around them. Okay, so that's where the problem starts. And it continues until where? Imagine we have more than 3,000 traffic accidents per year that are actually caused by what? By the lack of attention using phones while driving. To give you one more thing that actually surprised me, I swear to the Almighty Allah, when I was doing the tawaf around the Kaaba, December 2022, I went for Umrah, and while doing the tawaf, I was actually just trying to focus and use that opportunity that many people on earth do not have, that Allah gave me the chance to go there and visit the Holy Mosque of Allah. Then I hear someone coming around me, and actually he was doing the tawaf as well. I swear to Allah, what he was doing, he was praying. I was happy. He was saying actually what? The same prayer that you can actually do, actually recite when you're doing the tawaf. He was saying what? رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ وَأَدْخِلْنَا الْجَنَّةَ مَعَ الْأَبْرَارِ. So I was happy. Alhamdulillah. I have a brother that's actually that's really getting so involved in his worship. When I look around and I look at him, what was happening? He was actually doing this. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار. He's filming. And then all of a sudden, what happened? He turned. He's looking like, okay, where is the Kaaba? I want to be sure. Yeah, it's here. Okay, it's here. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة. Where are we going? Where? It's so sad. I'm just telling you about the extent where it's going. Now, do you think why governments did everything possible to shut down cities, shut down countries when the pandemic hit? Because they actually, supposedly, thinking that something is so dangerous and harmful that could actually terminate life. And it did terminate lives. Why don't they do it with phones? Number one, do you know what's the revenue of internet companies? Just by people using the internet, Do you know that these applications that we have around, some of the applications I mentioned, how much money they make by just us viewing and consuming their content? Trillions of dollars. And that would bring a complete global economy down. So, what is the danger? What is the impact of this? Why is it actually impactful to a limit where they don't even care at this point? It's not a pandemic, because it would be an economic crisis. But what happened with the pandemic when it's come to COVID? Rapid action. So it's up to us right now to understand, first of all, to know the problem. Even if you go to a medical doctor right now, sit down with the doctor and you tell him, I'm sick. He tells you what happened, what do you feel? You don't feel anything. He or she cannot even diagnose you. There is no diagnosis. Because up until now, there is no clinical diagnosis that could actually prove how people could be sick just by using their phones. So, what is the problem? The problem is our phones. How do I know that I'm actually addicted to my phone? Number one, sometimes you should ask yourself, do I have some urges? I found myself that, I'm really having the need to just hold my phone and do something on it, just to light the screen on and see who texted, who actually called. Do I have this? Secondly, and most importantly, does my mood depend on my phone? When I ask this question, sometimes some people post pictures, post videos, try to interact with others, and when they do not find any reaction at the other end, what would happen? They start feeling low because they're not validated. People do not like my pictures. For example, if I just want to compare, just for the sake of the example, I say, people like the pictures of Osama more than they like my pictures. So I start what? I let even my life be controlled, my mood controlled by what? By what I receive from my phone. How many people here today, if their phone was out of charge, what will they do? They do not know the road to go home. What will they do? Tell me. Wow, subhanallah. Thank you very much. I'm really proud of you. You do so great. You said exactly the answer I was actually looking for. Instead of actually asking someone, instead of looking for someone to ask, have that social interaction with a human person like you, you will just try to find what? A charger. You want to look for a charger to charge your phone, then use even Google Maps. Look how even the thought process was shifted. In how long? 15 years only. So I'm not thinking about all these 15 years, but the issue is that we need to understand that we have a problem so we can solve it, we can understand where are we heading. I'm looking for examples to understand or to be able to embody the problem. All what we're doing right now is to really find out, are we really sick? Do we have this sickness of using our phones? So, who among us here tried to reduce the usage of phones or social media? Let's be honest. Me, I'm doing that. I'm the first person. I'm the first. And who found out that all the time you try, you couldn't do it? You keep trying. Oh my God, ya Allah, it's difficult. How can I control the usage? You're not alone. We're all in there. But what you're doing now is actually coming to the point to realize the problem we have. We need to know exactly that we have a problem. If we come to the point that we agree that we are sick somewhere, okay, that's when we can go and look for solution. That's where we can go to the pharmacy. But if we do not realize that we are even sick, there is no point. So, what can we do? I actually came up with a lot of researches, and there are some points that I have tried personally that helped me. Number one, understanding the apps and how do they work. Do you know that these applications that we're using, we have people that are working day in and day out, every single day, with the title of product managers. Unfortunately, I used to be one. I worked in this role in IT company, so it made me understand the depth of how people are working day in and day out to ensure that you get addicted to their apps, that you get attached, you get to be dependent on their apps. To study how actually others use these apps, and from there, how can we make it actually more and more addictive through those types of usages. So the first thing, I have personally tried this and it helped me. Number one, switching off notifications in every single app. When you switch off notifications, you're not actually prompted all the time by you're talking to people, ding, oh okay, sorry, 1 minute, I have something. No. Personally, that have reduced. I have calculated it for myself because I understood, I knew that I was sick. I had this sickness, just like anyone here. And I did this, it reduced my phone usage by 71%. 71%, that's a personal story. Let's try to do this. Number one, disable all notifications. Keep the ones that are actually for the phone calls or text, okay, that could be urgent. But for the applications, no. And when you do that, what is the next step? Block time. Which means I can have, it depends on each and everyone, an hour a day, or 30 minutes a day, or 2 hours a day, depending on the need. That time, I can check everything, reply to everything, do everything. Apart from that, no. I should not go to those apps. Most of the time, what you are doing is actually useless. Let me give an example. I know that the brother Usama spends so many hours just working and putting a lot of good content on video so that the community benefits from this. That's good or bad? That's very good, and we're all proud of him for doing that. But what about others? Are we all doing the same thing? No, we have different types of usages. So, when you come to our brains, human brain is not good in multitasking. Your brain functions at its best when it's actually headed at one single direction. You cannot say you can manage your phone and manage also your thoughts at the same point of time. Give yourself the time to manage your space and manage your thoughts. When it comes to the apps, look at it honestly. What are the apps that are actually necessary for you? So many apps are just useless. Let's look at our thought process when it comes to validation. Let's get back out and live life. Let's connect with people instead of connecting with our phone. Let's look for that validation that we look for in the like or the comment on a post or a video. Let's try to find that out with others. Let's try to create those relationships. Because a phone, you can lose a phone, but a human connection, it's way, way more priceless. When it comes to, I call it the physical binding. Imagine, now just by the fact that I'm having my phone here on the table, do you all feel that actually like you're the most important thing to me? No. If we just look around, just keep your eyes open. Most of the brothers, they have their phones in their hands when they're walking. They can't even put them in their pockets, in their hands. Look at your sisters, like cousins, look at them, the girls. What happened? Most of the time their phones are even here. Not even in the pocket or in the bag. Here. Look how we were transformed. I swear to God, look at it. I looked even in my family. I just watch Open your eyes, not just to look, watch closely. You'll find that's the trend. When you talk with someone, oh yeah, talk to me. I'm listening. Yeah, I'm with you. What is the message that we are sending actually to the person we're speaking to? That our phones are more important. We need to understand that phones should not even be on the dining table. That this message is not just to us, to the parents as well. At home, we need to understand that we are sick. And we need to find a solution. The same way that when we get frightened and we don't feel good, we try to find a medication, something, or a remedy that can make us feel better. So it's the time for this as well. That's a disease. At night, let's be honest. Who puts his phone away an hour or 2 hours away before going to sleep? Very few. In the morning, let's be honest. Sometimes I fall in the same trap. I do, before you. Who checks his phone the moment he opens his eyes in the morning? The moment you open your eye, you're looking for your phone. Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Before even we say something, before we open our mouth, before we say, Alhamdulillah, alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana wa ilayhi nushur. No. The first thought, what is it? My phone. I want to check. So if we realize at first that we are actually sick, we can really find the remedy. At the end, I can just tell you, put that phone away. Live life. Mingle with others. Live your life. When I tell you live your life, what I mean by that is that do not live your life through the life of others. Sometimes we look at others when you look at TikTok, Instagram, everywhere. We look at people living their life and we think, oh, they're happy. You don't know how many times they try to take the picture before they think it's a great picture, and then they post it online so that they look at their best. That, hey, I'm living my life. No, do not live your life through the lens of other people. Live your life through your terms. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us all get over this hidden disease. May Allah give us its best and help us and protect us from its worst. Because the trend that the phones are going on, that's dangerous. The same way that when someone tells me, oh, I'm going to hospital, I'll be frightened. I say, Ya Allah, may Allah protect you. The same way that when I find people, and I mean young and wonderful people like you, having their phones all the time, I see danger. I see huge danger. And for parents, study thoroughly the decision that you take all the time for giving your children phones. And especially we are in a country where the content is not even controlled. The content, what we can see, is not controlled. They can tell you it's child control. Personally, I tried that with my son. My son actually had a YouTube Kid and YouTube Kid channel, and he goes there and watches some videos. And once upon a time I came and I checked and I found some videos that even adults should not watch. So watch out. Watch out. To all the parents, let's really study thoroughly the decisions we take about the phones, iPad, computers, laptops that we put in the disposition of our children alone. That's dangerous. May Allah protect you all. I see some of the brothers here already eager. They want to go to play. So yeah, I can set you free right now. You can go play, have fun, enjoy the food. But always remember that we are all sick. So when you say that, do not let it really get you. It stole a lot of my time. It stole a lot of my time. And I regret it. I regret it deeply. I spent long hours on social media, long hours on video games. But I don't want you to do the same mistake. Be wise. Barakallahu feekum. And I hope you enjoy your games there. Be safe and see you inshallah next week. Assalamu alaikum.